Hey everybody, how you doing? It's Uncle Dan here. Check out this new sweater I got from my coworkers Jenny and Crystal. Thumbs up! Speaking of thumbs up, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos, hit subscribe. Click that little bell. That'll tell you when I post stuff. Today's Christmas Eve, and what I'm going to do today is I'm going to give you a tour of my chicken coop. Can you hear that? They're anxious to get on camera. And my chicken run and what I've done. Now, before I do that, I have never had a chicken before this year, much like everybody else, or at least a lot of people. Never had a chicken coop, never built a chicken run. I'm not a carpenter. I have some, well, I can put a screw in a piece of wood and I can put a nail in a piece of wood. That's about as good as it gets for me. But I've been able to pull off some pretty good stuff. If you see something today you think I can improve, put it in the comments, let me know. If you see something today you think is dangerous for my girls, put it in the comments, please let me know. If you see something you like and you want to know more, put it in the comments. Hit me up on Facebook, Uncle Dan Levine. Can't miss me. Let me know. Without further ado, let's go. So this is our chicken coop out here. It used to be a shed. Now I built this shed back in 2010 in a weekend with very, very limited skills, so please bear with it. Yes, it is just a simple 10 by 12 salt box type structure that's on cinder blocks. That's how it's been for 10 years, almost 11 years now. Hasn't failed me yet. Before we go inside, I want to point out the paint's not done yet. This was just something we were trying out. I really dig it, so next spring we're going to finish it and get it painted up. That is not real wood that you see there. That's just laminate flooring that's covering up the seams to minimize any drafts getting through. So this is the chicken run. My son and I built this in a weekend. Simple 10 by 12, 10 feet wide, 12 feet long. I put this plastic up here. It's just a simple tarp plastic so that the snow slides off, which it does wonderfully. I got plastic running up about 4 feet on the sides, but I do need to put some plastic on the door because snow keeps getting through there and it freaks the girls out. I think I'm going to let them out. What do you all want me to do? You want me to let them out? They're anxious. Look at them. Ready? Let's see what can happen. On your mark. Get set. Go! Here they come. Well, they're not going very far. Normally, I'll walk off and they'll follow me. So I got plastic around the sides. I got to put plastic on the door. We got some plastic on the back. It comes down pretty far from the top. I have nothing on this back wall, which I'm going to need to put up. Probably some stuff up high. I have bird netting up here. I don't know if you can make out the bird netting. You can when I go here. I put bird netting up there to make sure nothing comes down from the top and that these girls can't get out from the top. We have a couple roosts. I have a shelf right here. I have a roost right there. That's the highest roost in the run. I got another shelf there for them to hang out on. Shelf there. You'll also notice we have a lot of chairs in here. So Jenny and I, when we go to the dump, she's always on the lookout for chairs. She says that it gives them something to sit on and something to play with. There's a simple slide door construction my son built. Very happy with that. It's lasted all summer and all fall and it's still holding up strong. So this is our run. You'll notice, I'll show you from the inside, I have some hardware cloth. 1/4 inch hardware cloth comes up about 2 feet and it goes out 2 feet and it's buried. The same thing here up against, we come up the side about 2 feet and it comes into the run about 2 feet because I couldn't go under the coop. And that's to keep anything from digging in. And this goes all the way around the coop. And the rest of it's just regular simple chicken wire. And at the door it goes out 2 feet on each side in the run and outside the run. That was the best I could do because I couldn't come up the door. I would not be able to open the door if I did that. So that's the run. Here's some of our girls. We have over there, I believe, Brittany. Looks like maybe Joy. Looks like Perry. Perry's the one that's kind of facing us, turned sideways. And then the Browns. Oh, now they're all running over there. Never mind. I'm not going to be able to tell you all their names. And then over here, we have a couple more of the ISA Browns. We have some Bards. And this right here is Griff. Griff is probably my favorite. It's beautiful, most chicken of all. She is just beautiful. Her name is Griff because she reminds me of a hippogriff. I know Griff's not much of a female name, but it doesn't have to be. And the other Americana that kind of looks like Griff right here is Perry. Now the reason why her name is Perry is because we originally named her Periwinkle because we thought she was a lavender orp when we got her because she was purple. So this is just a simple barn door construction. I threw it together in a day. Nothing is level, nothing is plumb. We have some decorations out here that we've gotten in various places. I used to be on a fire department, so those are my fire department placards. That's my first motorcycle placard, license plate. There's just some various signs that we've had throughout the years, and a friend of mine, Woody, provided us one of her old license plates. Now, a lot of people think that says, "Oh, Woody," but she informed me that that is not, in fact, what it says. It says, "Oh, would I." So, there's that. Let's go inside. So right inside the door, you're going to notice right away, I got a couple shelves here for tools and storage and whatnot on that side. And then I got a few on this side. I got all my hardware cloth up there with big old box of rolled plastic. I got some tools there, and that's where we store our hay and shavings, which we're kind of out of right now. For the winter, we're doing the deep litter method, and I'll explain that in a moment. Simple door. It's got 2 blocks for closures, and it's on a springed hinge so that it will automatically close, which I like. This is our roost, our coop. Our coop has changed many times since we started. Originally, we were going to have nesting boxes on this wall with an external access point, but we changed our mind just because. I don't remember why. Originally, I had a roost up here that ran the length, and we had a roost down here that was a different depth out from the wall, and then we had one that ran the length of that wall as well. You'll notice there's plenty of ventilation, and the lights are off right now, but these lights are up here, and I'll explain that in a moment too. Originally, this was built as a tool shed, and when we got Brittany and Santana, our 2 leghorns, back in early summer, we got them, and we were not prepared for them at all. As a matter of fact, they lived in the tool shed for a few weeks before, well, not maybe a few weeks, but for a little bit before we were able to make this a livable space for them. It was just littered with crap. I mean, I had tools in here from when we first moved in. I think I had my lawnmower, my riding lawnmower in here. I had stacks and stacks of tools and tires, and just, it was a junk bucket. That's what it was. So we cleaned it all out. I put up this wall here, and I used just simple chicken wire and hardware cloth to stop anything from getting in low. Again, I'm not a carpenter, but not by any stretch of the imagination. I can bang a nail into wood, and I can put a screw into wood, and I can put 2 pieces of wood together that way, and that's what I did here. Yes, dear. Sorry about that. I didn't open the door, and they get mad when I'm in here without them. But then they run off when I open the door. So I'm not a carpenter. I just managed to be able to build this. Don't ask me how. So simple construction. Originally, we were going to have a feeding station here, nesting boxes there, and the roosts over here. Don't remember why I changed my mind, but I did. So what we have now is we have 2 roosts right here, about equal height, because I found that once we moved the high roosts, half of the babies, because we have 3 different sets. We have the leghorns, which we got first, and then about 2 weeks later we got another set, which we have 2 hens from, which is Mary and Joy. They're both Americanas. And then about a month and a half later, there was a bunch of roosters too that I think we had 6 roosters total. We put 3 in the freezer. We processed 3 for the freezer. I had 2 friends that needed roos for their hens, and then another one we sent off to a farm to live off his life as a slave to the hen, if you will. So we had a good significant amount of hens and roosters here. We weeded out the roosters, kept the hens. When we got the babies, we got 10 more pullets. Yeah, 10 more pullets from Tractor Supply in August, which are the Bards, the ISA Browns, Perry, and Griff. And they were hanging out over here on top of the nesting boxes. Let me show you the nesting boxes real quick. So this nesting box I built. It took me, I think, a full day to build it. It's called a forward rolling nesting box. And I seen this on YouTube, and I thought to myself, we don't know, because our hens weren't laying, if they're going to want to eat the eggs or what. So I might as well build this now so that it'll negate the need to do it later. So this is what a forward rolling nesting box looks like. Truthfully, this here is what a forward rolling nesting box looks like. What we found is once they started laying, they had no interest in the eggs, so we don't really have a need, so we just put straw in here. So the way this is supposed to work is a chicken comes up, lays an egg, and it rolls down underneath this trap door so that they can't get to it, to either sit it or eat it. But we don't really have a need for that right now, so we just put straw in there. These nesting boxes were given to me by a friend. They were just simple, the simple kind you can buy at any Paris Farmers or Tractor Supply, and I just grouped them together, built a base for them, and put them in there. I think Mary likes that one and tends to lay her eggs in that one. You'll notice there's fake eggs in there right now. We just keep them in there. So those are our nesting, but this is our feed and water station. We did have a 5-gallon galvanized waterer, but it began leaking. You can tell that's wet. I noticed it was leaking yesterday. So we took that out. We just went and got a rubber dish just temporarily until we can get a new 5-gallon bucket. That's a heated base that is not plugged in right now because that's a rubber bucket on top of it. But that works usually to keep the galvanized water bucket nice and flowing. We have one food bucket that has shell, oyster shell, and then we have 2 grain buckets. This seems to work for them. They dig it. Those brackets you see behind were for the roosts that we didn't put back up. That saw that you see right there, that's my great-grandfather's saw. And it's probably older than all 6 of us watching this video right now put together. That thing, he probably got that back in maybe mid to late 1800s, and it's been in my family, and I have it. It was hanging up there above that, but when we realized the chickens were going to be sitting up there, which I try to discourage, I just moved it over there temporarily. So that's our chicken. So here's the roost. Now this is built on some stringers that I cut last spring for a project I was doing in my house. These stringers didn't work out. I don't know if anybody has ever tried to cut stringers, but it is not an easy task. It is not an easy task, and I had these kicking around. Jennifer wanted to try and do some stadium style seating, so we did. We put that roost there, and this roost was actually down here on the second step. But again, we found that nobody was using it. They were all trying to hang out up here. So what I did was I extended the top one out and put a second roost there so that they're all even or even-ish. I'm hoping they get the hint. I have to come in here every night and pull about 8 of them down from there and put them there so that they know where they're supposed to be sleeping. The cardboard that you see was another attempt at just minimizing the draft. I ran out of cardboard boxes. I'm on the hunt. Hopefully Christmas will supply me with some so I can finish. It's just a simple idea of just putting a barrier up between my girls and the sheathing from the outside to provide a little bit more of a barrier. We do not use a heat lamp in here. We use lights which go on at 4 o'clock in the morning. They're low density, just clear Christmas lights. They go on at 4 o'clock in the morning and they shut off at 8 o'clock in the morning. Let me see if I can turn them on. I'll show you kind of what it looks like, although it's daylight, so it'll be hard to really kind of tell, but that's what it does. And it lights it up pretty good in here. And that provides the girls with a wake-up time so that they can begin producing. Now, I know some of you are going to tell me that by using artificial lights, I am decreasing the lifespan of the chickens, which is true. That is true. It will decrease their lifespan. But the truth of the fact is that these girls are here to provide us with eggs. for food. And if they're not providing us with eggs for food, then they become pets, and they're not meant to be pets. Our chickens are meant to be providers, and that's what we use them for. We will not be culling them when they stop laying at the ripe old age of whatever. We will be allowing them to live out the rest of their lives here free of any obligation to provide us with anything. So that's kind of the trade-off that we have. With the girls, they seem happy with it. We treat them very well. We give them scratch and snacks throughout the day. We often give them treats that other chickens wouldn't otherwise have. We treat them very well. They are very happy with us. We are very happy with them. And they know their job. And that's kind of where it's at. Likewise, with our roosters that we end up getting, if we end up with roosters, I was lucky. The last set of 10 pullets we bought, no roosters have emerged yet. And we got them in the beginning of August, so we should have heard crowing or seen signs by now. So I got lucky. I think 10 out of 10 pullets being hens is extremely lucky. But our roosters, when we get them, they are food. If we buy straight run, which we probably won't anymore, or we buy pullets and we have roosters emerge, they get culled and put into the freezer, and they become nourishment for us later on down the road. This spring coming, let me show you what we're going to be working on. Excuse me, ladies. You guys looking for a place to hang out? So this spring coming, we're going to be expanding. I'm going to be building another coop, likely right around this area, with another run for a new clutch that we're going to get, that rather than trying to merge them in with the existing clutch, I'm thinking perhaps I'll just house them separately, allow them all to free range together, because when we are home, we do let them free range. We do not let them free range unattended. And the reason being is because we've bought them to provide for us, not provide for the wildlife in the area. And I don't want them to be a nuisance to my neighbors. So they are only allowed to free range when we are home, or if we are just stepping out, like right now they're all outside. So if Jenny came out and said, hey, we need to go to the store, we'd fly to the store, we'd leave these girls alone, come back, and we'd be here with them. So once we get the second coop built and the second run for the new chickens, they will have socialization time with the existing clutch. We're also going to be trying our hand at meat birds this year. We're not going to be going crazy with meat birds. I'm figuring we'll probably just do about 10 or so, because I'm going to be culling and processing myself. My son-in-law is likely going to be assisting with that, as well as my 4-year-old grandson, as much as he can. We want him to kind of get used to that process. And we're going to start small. I don't generally have an issue, or a terrible issue, with culling and processing. Although I got to tell you, this year was the first year I've ever processed something from my freezer that I raised from chick. So that was an interesting process for me. And so that's our coop. That's our coop. The roof leaks. I have plastic up there, and we tried some stuff during the spring, and I was going to do some stuff in fall, but due to financial constraints, we weren't able to this year, so we will next year. And that's what we got. Now you'll notice some other stuff around the yard. We have this cattle panel here, which makes a great archway for the garden. That's where the garden boxes are. We have this weird tubular frame here, and this is actually a greenhouse that I built this year that we took the plastic off for the winter. And we're going to revisit that in the spring and open that back up. And that's what we got going on. So listen, y'all have a Merry Christmas. If you got some girls of your own, give them some love, give them some extra scratch, maybe throw some worms in there. And peace.